Greetings and welcome once again to Solonomics 101. My name is Emunah Y'srael, recent author of Angry Black Woman Syndrome. Been missing for a couple of days, maybe a week or so. Just really meditating and studying and furthering my understanding on certain subject matters. So I'm back because I saw a question that was posed by a sister recently about what is the need for black people to be accepted by white people. It's interesting because it's in the course of the line of our study, and I saw she was pleading for understanding, not to say that I have the fullness of understanding, but I will definitely share what it is that I've learned. The thing about understanding what we want to know is that we have to be willing to open up our mind that truth may not come as we want it. And I'm not just speaking directly, now I'm speaking in general, so nobody feel no way. But basically, the truth is the truth. And our emotions sometimes block us from seeing the truth. And I notice oftentimes our community, because of the emotional trauma that has been done, and that's what I want to talk about today. But before I get there, because of the emotional trauma and the injury that has been done, we tend to sometimes not look at the entire picture. So with understanding, if we really want to know the truth, then we have to be willing to stomach the entire truth. Recently, I've been reading a lot of slave narratives because I've noticed that when we say the word slavery or oppression and racism, it's kind of ambiguous, not only for Europeans, but as well as quote-unquote black people. We have the key little ones that they taught you on February, you understand? And the whole richness of the history is lost in for lack of a better word, right? Whitewashing it, and we ourselves don't know our own history. That is a damaging part of our healing process. And why I say healing process is because if we don't understand the nature of the injury, we don't know how to heal it. If you go to the doctor, the first thing they're going to do is diagnose you or begin to ask you a line of questioning so that they can understand the nature of the injury. So when we are seeing people, and I see some comments that say, okay, we know the issue, but we don't know the degree of the issue. We do know that there's something wrong. We do know that there were injury on many levels, mental, physical, and spiritual. You understand? And what we're looking at is the effects of those injuries. But it's like we keep getting upset at the effects of the injury, but usually when you're sick, you want to get healing. If you've been injured, you want to heal. So continuing to just rehash what's the problem is like saying to the person who was hit by a car, why you limping? Why you keep limping? Every time I see you, you limping. You better stop limping. Okay, he needs to go to rehab so that he can go to learn how to walk again and improve his gait, point blank. So for us, we don't have to, but it will benefit us if we want understanding to, yes, acknowledge that these are the symptoms of a deeper problem. And the problem is that we have been injured, like a bird with a broken wing. You can pump him up all day. You're going to fly, little birdie. That doesn't mean he's going to fly. We have to know a little something about it. So what do I say? Some great books to begin to read if you want to. What I notice is, because I started this on the 1st of January, is a reading project. It's called Lift Every Voice, right? I say that to say, at first everybody's like, yeah, we're going to read. And then as we start reading, we're not ready. I can't stomach it. I can't hear it. That means we're not ready to address the injury. If you're hurt, you remember when you fell down when you was young and your mother looking at you like, no, don't touch it, don't touch it. She start yelling and screaming at you because if I don't put peroxide on it or if I don't cleanse out the cut, it can't get better. So right about now, even though it's been hundreds of years, we're still like, oh, I can't look, I don't want to see it, it hurts too much. This is where we should start. Looking at the symptoms, that's cool, but start in what was the injury. Reason being, when you find out the injury, then you will begin to understand the psychology behind the injury. Now let's get on to, because I could go long on this, because like I said, this thing is getting juicy. So right about now we're reading 50 Years in Change, a slave narrative by Charles Ball. But here's the thing. The thing is, at the time our foreparents were writing this, it was a revolutionary act. Reason being, it was illegal for you to read. That's another video as to why a lot of times black people don't want to go into books. Maybe because you was under threat of punishment severely if you did. So psychologically, that has been passed down throughout the generations. They have a new study that it's like I knew the words, but I couldn't give their new term. So the new term is epigenetics, where it is that the experiences of your foreparents, they're not necessarily hardwired like the color of your eyes or the length or height that you're going to be, but their experiences have been passed down. I got a book. If you want to understand it, you have to be ready to search for the answers. This is a very interesting book. It's called The Betrayal Bond, right? It's talk about trauma bonding. We have to be willing to admit, even though it was under duress, even though that you were forced into this relationship, Europeans and black people were in a relationship. I know you might be mad right now, like, what? Sis is bugging out. You have to be at least willing to come to that term, that it was dysfunctional, but nonetheless, it was a relationship. The relationship needs to be looked at for what it was, and here's why. When you look at it for what it was and what it continues to be, it's like why you don't understand why a battered wife doesn't leave the husband, or why the